Okay, welcome to the first installment of the Movie Pits weekend movie review. This is an idea I had in December, and I'm just starting to get around to it. Pretty much wanting to do shorter reviews of the films that I've seen that week. These will normally be posted on Fridays, but this weekend is going to be kind of crazy, so hopefully by the end of next week everything will be running right, and it should be a weekly thing. It'll include theatrical releases as well as DVD releases that I've seen. But enough of that. Let's start this one off with Stephen King's The Mist. The premise of the film is pretty much about a freak storm which unleashes a species of bloodthirsty creatures onto a small town where a small band of citizens hold up in a supermarket and fight for their lives. Led by David Drayton, played by Thomas Jane, if you don't know. The group splits into two groups, much like in Stephen King's The Stand. And people begin to start to distrust one another. And that's more or less the idea of The Mist, and a good way to get it started. I thought this film was outstanding, a real joy to watch, and all around a very entertaining film. But on top of being entertaining, it is also a very powerful movie. I saw this movie at the drive-in with my brother and sister, and throughout the entire movie, my sister was just yelling at the screen, just fucking screaming and yelling, getting really into the film. But when the movie ended and the credits started to roll, she was dead silent and eventually made the comment, "I hated that movie." Now that's what I call a powerful movie. Anything that can make a person go from one extreme to the other like that is something to be proud of. I've been reading online that people are so proud to see, now happy to see a good Stephen King film that actually came out in 2007. And to those people I say fuck you. And for those who don't know, 1408 was also a movie that came out this year, but apparently people didn't like it. I thought 1408 was a great film as well, and for those of you who think different, more power to you. I don't know. More power to you. Anywho, my only complaint with this film is some of the CG. In certain scenes, the creatures didn't seem to mesh with their surroundings that well, but that's my only real complaint with it. The acting is phenomenal, the story itself is compelling, and the ending will blow your mind. All around, I think I have to give this film 4 stars, and I look forward to seeing anything else from Frank Darabont in the near future. Next on the list is Awake. The story focuses on a man who suffers anesthetic awareness and finds himself awake and aware but paralyzed during heart surgery. His young wife must wrestle with her own demons as the drama unfolds around them, but while in this state he hears the surgeons planning his murder, but he is helpless and unable to do anything. Okay, to start, this film is not for everybody. Many people hated this film and many people liked this film. I happen to be one of those who liked it. I feel Hayden Christensen and Jessica Alba gave superb performances in the film, and I personally think this is Hayden's best performance, because normally I can't stand to watch that fucking guy act. He usually makes me sick to my stomach. The film has many twists and turns to keep you on the edge of your seat. Some people might find them a little hard to follow, and I understand somewhat, but other than that, it's pretty much a straightforward film. The connection that you feel between the characters in the film is really what helps move it along, as well as giving the audience a great opportunity to really start switching around what characters they really hate, what characters they like, and you can switch around throughout the movie because, like I said, it has a lot of twists and turns. This will be a film that I will definitely buy when it comes out on DVD, and I give it 3 stars just because some of the story is a little unclear at points, even though it does eventually make sense. It's just a little bit hard to really get into. But it's still a great film nonetheless. And last but not least, let's talk about Sweeney Todd, the demon barber of Fleet Street. This is the story of Benjamin Barker, who has returned to London as Sweeney Todd for revenge. He opens a barbershop on Fleet Street with his fellow tenant, Mrs. Lovett, and this is where all the sinister plans will come to life. Okay, this film is based off a Broadway musical. Let's try not to hold that against it, and there also are many versions of this film out there. You just have to dig them up and look around for them. Once again, Tim Burton and Johnny Depp team up to bring another fantastic cinematic experience to the world. I really enjoyed this film, even with all the singing, but it does add a nice change to your traditional horror film, if you can even really call this a horror film. because Depp is such a fantastic actor. He can pretty much make any character work in his favor and make you really like the characters, even as one as sinister as Sweeney Todd. Just a side note here, don't you think Sweeney Todd's hairstyle kind of reminds you of Tim Burton's? Minus the skunk streak, of course. Anyway, the only thing I have against this film is its remarkable similarities to another Tim Burton film, Sleepy Hollow. I think they should have gone a little bit different way with that, but it does work in the film's favor, just not my personal preference. Helena Bonham Carter does a great job in this film, as does Alan Rickman, who you probably recognize as Professor Snape from the Harry Potter films. And I think that pretty much covers everything I want to say on this one. Overall, with Johnny Depp, Alan Rickman, Helena Bonham Carter, and even Sacha Baron Cohen giving brilliant performances, acting as well as singing, I give this film 4 skulls. Again, only because I'd like to see Burton stretch his cinematic stylings a bit. Well, I think that pretty much ends it for this first installment. I hope you all will just tune in again next week when I review The Bucket List, Charlie Wilson's War, and Juno.